What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So I'm running a little bit behind, but I want to definitely keep to my word. Keep to my word because it's important. I think it's something that that will help a lot of people in this time. Specifically, what's going on, cuz? Specifically going in a direction of what it means to hear source and to hear the true inner voice. Because lately the people that I've been running into in the collective, or the people that I've been blessed to help with from time to time, and sit beside from time to time, one of the main things is that it always sounds like there's no room for silence. Like there's always a phone, always always a video, always a podcast, and a lot of us deal with the internal. I like to call it the internal podcast. A lot of us deal with that inner voice that seems like it's always running on a loop, or a collective of inner voices. And for people that may deal with spirits, it might sound like a conference call every now and then. You know what I mean? But I'm speaking about silence because silence isn't just silence within itself. But silence is literally sacred technology. It's one of the main reasons why you would have the old world, the old school mystics that would go off into the desert and be to themselves and to their things and to their tools, and then it's like they come back and refreshed and rejuvenated. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those easier forms of sitting and being. And when I say silence, I'm not talking about like the silence of things, or like having things or to flow through your mind, but I'm talking about like silence after removing thought processes, silence after removing programming, silence after removing the idea of a box or compartmentalization, or the silence of the I, the silence of removing identity. Like what is it after that, when there's nothing, not even thought? What is it when you finally get the chance to remove like the concept or the idea of what you thought silence was? I like to say now, I like to heal at the speed of silence, if that makes sense. If not, let me break it down. This world is super noisy, even without you. Not to sound bad, you know what I mean? But ride with me here for a second. This world is noisy as fuck, right? So the ability to be silent in a world that was built on the noise that is chaos. That's a real rebellion. Because silence doesn't stop action. Silence prepares for it. You see what I'm saying? I put it for those of us that know about the old world, the old style music of our ancestors, right? A lot of the people that know music, know music theory and stuff like that may understand what I'm about to say, but for those that don't, I'll try to make it. So everybody can understand it. Take gospel for instance. Take R&B. R&B is beautiful. Gospel is beautiful. We talk about the riffs and runs, but you know what makes those genres of music extra special? The feeling, the spirit is in the pause. The spirit is when is in the parts where those notes breathe a little bit, or that run hit, and then there's like a little pause, or that breath is taken. You know what I mean? It gives you a different sensation when it's like one of those ballads, or one of those songs that like the Mississippi Mass Choir or something, when they would have those runs, and then they would have a pause or a snap like really quickly in the note. It's the pause that give things spirit. It's the pause that gives the note of source. It is the pause that gives the voice of the ancestors to anything that we do, especially music and prayer. That's another one. That's when you think about silence, and silence being what it is. Because it is in the moments of prayer, or in the moments of conjuring, where you have the silence that ushers in the spirit, that ushers in the word of what's going on. You know what I mean? Silence, especially when you move all of the things that I mentioned before, like the identity, the chaos, the thoughts, the programming. When you remove all of those things, you get to a point to where your body starts to catch up with your spirit. Your body starts to match the frequency of your soul, as you begin to really understanding what the healing is when you remove all of those things. That's the body, the mind, and the spirit becoming silent, the heart becoming silent in unison. You know what I mean? And I understand why people may not want to be silent, or people shy away from silence, or why silence is hard. Because ultimately, silence requires patience. In a world that doesn't leave much room for it or speak against it, because everything is so microwaved and now. Silence doesn't leave much room for that. Because a lot of the times when we're sitting in those moments, we have to wait for that silence to happen, because the first thing that's going to happen is that it's going to bring up stuff. And that stuff is going to have voices. And those voices are going to have characteristics that may push you or pull you in a certain direction, but you're going to have to be still enough in your silence to know not to move, or to learn how to allow these things to move through you as if you were sitting outside and the wind was blowing. It's literally that. How you honor yourself in that space is allowing the choice of silence and the choice of peace to match, to come together on one accord, to know that the common goal is for you to be a whole, a full you. Because I'm going to tell you, the minute you allow silence in your life to help you, to move you deeper within self, to transform your heart space, the sooner you'll realize that a lot of the things you thought were wrong with you were just things that you've held on to, including the things that made you sick, or made you feel a certain way, or to change your ideals, or to put you in a certain direction, or take you into a certain course of life. All of these things start to unravel. If you see this video, if you see this video, I want you to let me know, have you ever had the feeling of true silence and unraveling? When you allow the definitions of you, the things that once defined you, the programming that you held on to, when all of those things are gone, and even the voice that is left doesn't even sound like anything you've ever heard before, because it's now not coming from your head space, but it's coming from your heart. Have you ever sat in that space? Have you ever felt what it is to literally be silent for all of the ways that those that came before you weren't allowed to? Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Peace. It's like that type of silence allows you to realize that your soul has literally been giving you direction. And this entire time that you've been dying to hear your own voice, your program and your ego have been sharing the aux cord this entire time. And all you've been wanting to do is have a clearness where you can hear yourself, where you can hear source. Because I'm going to tell you now, if you don't believe you can, then you probably haven't been silenced enough, because you absolutely can. Especially when you've done the hard work, and especially if you've been sitting with the clearing of your heart truly. I'm here to tell you that voice is very, very loud, very loud, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It fills you up with a joy that you wouldn't want to choose anything else but that joy. And it's a power that allows you to remember all that you are before anything or anyone made you feel broken, because you start to realize that the resonance that hit every part of your heart space is reminding you that you're very much alive and you're very much whole, and there's nothing or anyone that can make you feel anything other than that, because it's a source connection. You know what I mean? It puts you in the space of healing to realize within yourself that meeting someone source to source helps you realize that you don't need the sensationalism to do the right thing, that you don't need to be verbally abused or something to do the right thing. Like, you don't need that. You don't need that. You know what I mean? There's a different type of healing going on to where you don't need that. It just takes a little silence. If you had the patience for silence, you probably wouldn't even need a reader. You probably wouldn't need to go and do all these programs and all of these things if you were just patient enough with yourself and graceful enough with yourself to sit in silence and be, and to hear your voice and to hear Source connect with you fully. You wouldn't need all of these extra things. You wouldn't be sitting in the space to feel like you're being poked at, to make a movement about something, because everything in you is already what you need. You learn that you are your own medicine for real. Not just in the sense of going out and getting sun, but I'm talking about the inner work. I'm talking about the inner work, to where everything inside of you feels like you're constantly sitting outside anyway. That's a different type of feeling that I wish for all of you. It is to take time to sit with self, to sit with all of the things, and to allow it to be ugly, to allow it to be sad, to allow it to be angry, to allow it to be all of these things until it becomes nothing. Because then after that, your mind develops a specific, very specific type of sharpness, a very specific type of clearance, of hearing, of clarity, a deepness of intuition happens. Because a lot of the times when we think we're using sacred silence, we're literally letting our programs run the show. Even in the space of doing shadow work, our shadows don't all sound the same. A lot of us are sitting in spaces where our shadows are sad. Not angry, sad. And not even sad in a way about something else, but sad from us. From what we've allowed within ourselves. Especially for those of us that are adults. Because everything becomes a choice after a point. But we have to be silent to recognize how our choices are being ran and what are we observing. Because in a lot of ways, with you not doing the work to understand your silence and to understand that those voices aren't yours, what you may think be your intuition, a lot of times is those things that are taking shape inside of you and taking voices inside of you and become sentient and living inside of you, separate from you. And yes, I know that sounds crazy, but it can happen. It can happen. So much so that many get so detached from this world and forget that they still have to exist in it. It's not easy once you sit in silence like that to realize all of those things. But what I will tell you is that it's okay. It is. It is. Because now there's a deepening in the understanding of who you truly are without all of those other things. Now, if you get a chance, I want you to try something while you're here. And What I want you to do is I want you to put one hand over your chest and another hand over your navel. And what I want you to do is I want you to literally what's going on? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Stick around. I do have a live question. I do have a question and answer thing after this. So if you want to ask questions, you can do that too. But put your hand over your chest and your hand over your navel, and I want you to literally count down from 10 and bring your breath. Breathe regularly, but take your breath from your chest and put it in your stomach. Like your chest shouldn't be moving. Try to keep your chest still as possible, and only hold for just a short second to give your breath a circular motion. And what happens with that is that will not only regulate your nervous system, but it will allow you to start to filter out the places in your body where there's been trauma stored or held that prevent that silence. Because a lot of the times the things that drive us to say we don't know how to quiet our minds is often because for the first time, you're truly allowing those things inside of you to speak. So that's why a lot of times when you try to meditate a certain way, it's like the mind's always racing, or there's like somebody hit shuffle on Spotify or something, and this, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And you don't have to exactly like sit down or anything like that to do that. You can do it standing. You can do it walking. Just pretty much anywhere where you can take a moment, because a lot of us have been so on the go that it's literally our ancestors calling us to be this type of silent. Because what usually happens is once we don't learn that, something happens to where, you know, we might find ourselves being set down in spirit. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's a little tough. It's a little tough to sit in those kind of spaces, and we'll feel it. We'll feel it. For instance, here, let's try this. On the count of 3, I want you to just say self-abandonment 3 times. Right now, just take a deep breath, loosen your body up, and 1, 2, 3. And literally just say self-abandonment 3 times. Put a 1 when you've done that, please. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens after the fact. If you've done that, then take a moment. Take a moment if you've done that, and I want you to tell me where you felt the energy from that word in your body. Again, that word is self-abandonment. When I did this exercise myself, I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my stomach. And that's a place where that word has affected you. If you felt that word anywhere, that's where that energy from that word is sitting at in your body. Now that you've done that, place your hand. Is it still frozen right now? Uh-oh. Okay. If you can hear me, just take a second and place your hand over where you feel that energy in your body. And just take a deep breath, and I'm going to give you something to say. I am safe within myself. And you can say it more than once. I am safe within myself. I am safe within myself. I am safe within myself. And then you allow silence to come in. And you can kind of just massage that space. Or even touch the back of your neck and then massage that space, let it seep into your subconscious that way. That's another little trick for those that didn't know. If you have affirmations, that's the seat of your subconscious. It's at the base of your neck. So anytime you have trouble with that, you can always just, when you're talking, saying your affirmations or saying anything you want to remember for yourself, literally rub the base of your neck right there at your spine. And it's alerting your subconscious to take note. It's just a little, but it's one of those things where you can allow your body to feel your healing, and then it comes and it stops being a situation where you're just talking about healing and your body's literally listening for it. You know what I mean? So much so that for myself, I had issues in my body that have become dormant because of the ability of learning to communicate to source differently and to sit in my own body and allow the things that I held on, like betrayal and all of that other stuff, I allowed those things to literally dissolve in my body to where I didn't have the same feelings or the same things that I would think about. I didn't need a extra thing. I didn't need all of these extra things for healing. Literally, silence and source allowed me to sit in the space to dissolve things. You know what I mean? And of course, there will be times where you're in community and things might seem a certain way, but it doesn't. What you'll notice is that your body isn't communicating the same. You're not going into automatic fight or flight. You don't have the same reactions. You don't have the need to perform or do a certain thing anymore. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. It gives you the opportunity to literally rewire all of yourself in totality to where it's literally, you can say, I did nothing. When someone asks you like, what did you do to get rid of that? Or what did you do to heal? What did you do to do all of these things? I did nothing. The nothingness of healing is where you find out that you're not broken. It allows you to feel like the things that help you appreciate the wholeness of who you are. All of you, every part of you. You know what I mean? I want you to think about it for a second. Think about, because I know when people talk about shadow work, I did a whole thing over on TikTok. I did a whole thing on TikTok about shadow work and how people got shadow work all wrong, and you've been lied to about shadow work. So I had to clean some things up over there, but you've been lied to a lot about shadow work. Because I want to ask you something, right? A lot of us, especially those of us that are melanated, a lot of us found our gifts in chaos. A lot of us found out we had gifts when we were going through something or when we were coming out of something. Right? So imagine if you move that thing or remove that thing from your life. Imagine if you move that thing from your life and that pushed you in the space of learning that you were super gifted. Imagine if you remove that. You literally erase the timeline that helped you discover in yourself that you had these things. You remove that. You forgot that all of these things still tie into the sacred timeline of self. It's not about getting rid of a bunch of things. It's about getting rid of how you respond to it. That's the real thing. It's not about going and killing off this part of yourself and telling these things like literally. I'll share a little piece of mine, because my first seership came when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Child abuse. Literally. And I saw, Prophetess, what you said. I see it now. The same thing. These are horrible things that happened, but they're also a piece of you. Now, you take this piece of you and you turn it into something powerful, right? That's the thing, right? So instead of getting rid of it, now you become an advocate for the betterment of these situations. You become an advocate for protecting children. You use your gifts in the space of protecting children, of honoring families, of being support for people that feel like they may not have it to the best of your capacity. You turn all of these things into pluses. That's why a lot of us swallow our tears for that very reason, without even realizing that's the real performative thing, is to silence yourself and quiet yourself and mush yourself down and keep yourself from being in the true wholeness of all that you are. Literally. You don't allow yourself to be whole. It's all of it. No performance. Just you. No trying not to do something so something else doesn't happen. That's still avoidance. All of these things that we keep being told to do is avoidance. Even in the space of detaching, because number one, quantum particles don't allow for detachment anyway, because you're still connected to everything, as we all are part of the all, and we always have been and always will be. So there's that. But we get so much in the space of trying to put ourselves a part of, or fix ourselves, or do all of these things, and silence helps you remember that you're okay already. That you're okay in joy. And you're literally okay to choose the things that may feel crazy right now, like happiness. Because while you may not have the life that you've been wanting to have because of what you've seen, but it allows you to remove all of these programmers that tell you what should be, and it aligns you to what you truly are. Because that's what it's about. It doesn't matter about the programming. It doesn't matter about what you think you should have. None of that matters. Because you got the choice to embrace the fruit of silence already. And that's the realization of the connection to source. The building of the true self. And starting from that. Because everything else is a foundation on quicksand. It's real. It also helps you with being okay, with being by yourself too. It helps you sit in the space of understanding that sometimes it is just gonna be you. And that's okay. That's okay. Because why? You allow yourself, and this is me removing mine. Because I'm in the space of literally allowing all of the things the imperfections and all of the things that whatever they are, because I sit in this space literally of grief. The last 4 weeks, grief, silence. And grief has been the spiral for me that kept going. I lost a partner of mine that was set up by somebody he loved. You know what I mean? I dealt with that. I sat with that. The anniversary of my pop passing, I sat with that. I sat with all of that. You know what I mean? I dealt with all of these. I dealt with being stole from. I dealt with, I dealt with betrayal of people that all of those things came to a head because I was holding on to these things like I was just gonna get my thing. I was just gonna get my lick back because I was tired of people fucking with me. I was tired of people thinking I like damn, do I gotta turn back into the me before this? Nope. You don't. Silence helped me remove all of that. Days upon days at a time of not saying anything verbally. Sometimes all I did was laugh. Because as things start to disintegrate, I found myself more joyful, more understanding of myself, more at ease, more at peace. Even in my practice, right? Even in my practice, because of the things that that I do and I have done, because I've been traveling for a little bit. The things I have done with others and for others, it allowed me to sit in a space so unique, so pure, that I was able to do things it would normally take a team of people to do. You know what I mean? And I give that to my ancestors, and I give that to Source, that allowed me the space to be able to do that. Because there's a certain level of peace and knowing and silence that elevates you in a way that you can only read about in a book, if I'm honest with you, that you can only read about in a book. But if you can, right? If you're able to do so, tonight or tomorrow, I want you to just take about 10 minutes. No music, no scrolling, no YouTube, no podcast. Just you and that breathing technique I spoke about previously. If you haven't seen it, just rewatch the video. This one's not going to be that long. Just let your nervous system catch its breath too. Don't think of the space of I need to fill this time up with positive words or affirmations or all of these other things. And the only thing you need to do is fill this time up with nothing. Fill this time up with nothing. Pure silence. And if you start off and it gets chattery, keep sitting. And keep sitting. And keep sitting. That's where the rewiring happens. Mind, body, and soul. All at once. With that beautiful piece of silence. That's all. That's all I had today. That's all I had today. So there's that. So if you have any questions, even if it's not about this, if you just have like spiritual questions, or if you have questions about anything, you know, just hit me. What's up? Drop it down in the, drop your questions down below, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. Peace to you all for being here today. I'm going to sit here for a second, so ask your questions, whatever you feel like talking about. It's cool. Okay. I've been afraid to go to Orishas. Okay. You're not black. What are you, if you don't mind me asking? Of course. I got scared because my father's a Christian preacher. That program. Oh, I understand. I understand. Okay. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Number one, I understand the fear of that, but I feel one of the major things is that you learn if you're going to experience anything, because they do have Spanish Spanish versions of Ifa, which is like Umbanda, Lukumi, and stuff like that. So it's not that you can't go to them. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were. I would implore you to learn about everyone's first Orisha, which is your Ori. That's really your first Orisha. Before you get into even anything else, like, because your Ori not being understood, or your Ori not being championed for or honored, your Ori can block you from a lot of things. It could literally block you. It could literally allow you to see all of this stuff and be like, nope, you can't have any of it though, but you can look at it. That's literally your Ori. Literally. Second thing, I always tell people to find a competent Babalawo and Iyawo that actually know Odu, that can help you out, because a lot of people have titles but they don't know Odu, and Odu is the real deal thing that's actually going to help you in these situations, because they have not just, they don't give you just a name, like they give you stuff that'll actually help your life. They give you medicines and stuff, so it's more to it when you're going, and that's why a lot of people talk about initiations, because that's literally like it's more to it than just knowing an Orisha. That's why, you might have situations where, because people don't know, they'll make up something, because they don't really know Odu like that. You know what I mean? And if anybody's like talking about that, have them explain it to you in Odu, because if it's E5, it's literally everything you can think of is in that. Literally. They got lists of things. Here's the thing with that. When you ask me, what does it mean that Ogun showed up today? I would ask you, how do you know that that's Ogun? Because and this is why I'm asking that, because a lot of the people that don't really know Orishas don't know that Eshu can turn into any Orisha and have any Orisha signature look like any Orisha and show up to you just to see where your heart is at. Literally. You know what I mean? Literally. Like, that's why you have to be in a space to be around people that actually know Orishas. Because that's where the trickster thing come from. Because it's always going to be like, well, why do you want to speak to why do you want to speak to them? Why do you feel called to this energy? Because there's protocol to it. You have to check. It's like you got to check in. Even with the Orishas, it's like you got to check in. You know what I mean? Like, why do you want this? Why do you want to speak to? Literally. There's a version, like, because I'm a seer, I see them too. They'll literally come up to, like, Eshu's literally come up to you dressed as another Orisha, even a woman, and he'll do something silly. to show you that it's him. But most people don't know his signatures, so most people don't know that. Because Eshu is literally known as the many-faced God. Literally. Literally. 401 plus different faces. You see? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, how do you know if you have Orisha aspects? One of the, let's say, easiest way to explain this is through divination, but a very specific divination. Have someone that's competent enough to sit down and do Aaron De Lagoon or throw a Pele for you. Because these are societies. These aren't just aspects. Like, these are whole societies that come with this. You know what I mean? Because what a lot of people don't know that aren't actually in the tradition is that it's not about just becoming or having this Orisha. It's like you literally walk as them in this lifetime. Literally. Like, that's the point. That's the point. Because you don't really get, when you receive or you become an Orisha, and you possibly could. Any of you possibly could. You're not supposed to continue living the way that you already are. It doesn't work like that. That's how you become an Orisha. Your life changes drastically. Drastically. For instance, a lot of people don't know that Obatala, the one that wears white, a lot of people don't know that he was sentenced to wear white. A lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, I'm you know, he got a cool head. He real strict. He was sentenced to become that. Most children of his can't drink because he will become an unruly wild man on liquor. So much so that he was covered in red, so his color originally was all red. Literally. Because of bloodlust. Literally. And so he was sentenced to sit in the space to have all of these things removed so that he can become a man of principle, so that he can become a man of good character, of outstanding character. Literally. That's why. That's why. The same thing with Oshun. Everybody talks about Oshun is yellow, but Oshun was white. Her clothes were, I said that wrong. Her clothes were white, but they became so dingy because she was poor, so dingy. So unkept that it turned yellow. It turned yellow. She became royalty after the fact. But she learned how to be the best version of herself when she had nothing. You see? This is the reason why you shouldn't get so enamored with the sensationalism of things before understanding the walk it took to get there. You know? It's important. Even in the space of you wanting to embody that energy, it's important that you know the path of what it took to get there, because it's not easy. It required a lot of sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice to say that you're that? Are you willing to sacrifice? You don't automatically embody the end of the road. You embody the journey. You take on the journey when you say you're that. You take that. That's why a lot of people have a hard time when it comes to simply being a devotee, because it requires a lot of sacrifice. It does. Life as you know it won't be the same almost instantly But you got to be prepared for that. You got to be okay with that. You know. And don't worry about being Spanish. You still can access. You can still access Orishas. Like it's just honor where they came from, though. That's all I will say. That's all. I've personally devoted a lot of my life to that, to them, to myself, in my learning to that. Because Ori, being your first Orisha, teaches you how to honor yourself. That's why I always say, if you ever are interested in Orishas and learning about them, learn Ori first. Learn Ori first. Because even if you have an aspect right, that doesn't take away the fact that you should keep protocol. That means you should want to keep it more so. Because that means if something's been pulling on your energy, and you're required to tend to it. Yes, absolutely. Because you can't have Orisha without Ori. Ori's in all of that. Ori's in everything. I might do something, because I recently taught a little thing on Twitter not too long ago to a couple of people that were misled about Orishas. I taught a little thing on Ori, so I might do a little something, and it ain't gonna be like nothing. It'll be donation based or whatnot. Prophetess, what you just said, I gotta double check everything. Do that for everything, even me. Double check, question everything, and I mean that. Without saying too much, I mean that. Double check everything, and that's for anybody. That's for anybody. Because a lot of the things you'll be told the wrong information for the sake of somebody selling you something, and they're only selling you up the river. And next thing you know, you're in a world of confusion because you don't know how to embody what you were told. You just told you were this thing, or you feel pulled to this thing. You know what I mean? Like it's important. It's important that you double check. I personally think it's a beautiful thing. You know? But I don't know if I said this before, to circle back to your original question about Ogun. The beauty about having that checked is because while they may not be called to you in that way, they could possibly be protecting you from something, or someone, or yourself, because that happens too. You know what I mean? Oh, no problem at all. Hey, you know what? If ever I'm on live like this and I'm doing a QA and you got questions about Orishas or whatever else, like, feel free to ask. Just jump on. I'm not one of those people. You just ask. If you see me on, just ask. It's cool. Yep. Yeah. Most of the time when you run into that energy, even if it turns out to be SU, it's still protecting you from something. You know what I mean? Or calling you to action about something, or bringing something to your attention. I will ask you, were you thinking about something previously? Were you in a situation that was stressful or something like that? Or have you been It just popped into me that you were probably dealing with something that you needed protection regarding. If that's the case, then you don't have to put your information on there if you're not comfortable with that. But that's usually how that shows up. Okay. Okay. How long has that been going on, if you don't mind me asking? Mm-hmm. 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 How are you with building community or having actual community? Oh, wait. Pause. 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 Prophetess. Pause. Pause. Pause for a second. You said they have kept me from moving. Okay. I want you to keep in mind something very important. Nobody has permission to do anything in that space like that. Nobody has permission to do anything to you without your permission. I need you to tell yourself that, because that, when you talk like that, that allows a tweaking to your coding that allows things like that to happen, because that's where your energy starts to be devoted, or your energy starts to shift over into feeling like it's not strong enough to protect against certain things. And no, I don't care how powerful a person is. No, it doesn't work like that. Because that's what it is. That's what it is. When you sit in the space of honoring self and allowing that version of you to really shift into wholeness, the perceived fragmentation vanishes. It's not in the space of they're going to harm me. Put yourself in the space of I'm not allowing shit to affect me at all, outside of myself. Like, at all. And you have to get like that, because people will get beside themselves and think because they read a few more Harry Potter books that they can do things to you without your permission. No, it doesn't. It's okay. That's prophetess. You might need to rewatch this from the beginning, because I don't want you to get into a habit of telling yourself that you're broken and these things like that, because that's a way to fracture yourself and to keep you from seeing the fullness of what you are. And I want you to be able to, and I'm trying not to say too much. Because I don't want to put your business out there. I will just say this. Learning the silence the way that I've been talking about will allow you to hear your voice and Source's voice without hearing all of the things that have been placed on you. You know what I mean? Because I hear what you're saying, but I know that there's programming there that you're still fighting through, and it's okay. It's okay. You can realize now more than ever, and I'm glad you giving me history, but I just want to share with you that give yourself just a little bit more power. You know what I mean? Because they might be around you. They might be around you, and trust me, I understand what people do wrong and still be around you. Trust, I understand. But they only have so much power. They only have so much. Because the minute that you say enough, you won't even have to do anything. The fact that they wronged you, they're literally, because their intentions were, like, if their intentions were to wrong you, like, you don't have to worry about nothing. They're gonna suffer their own shit. It is. Things will never go right for people that do wrong to other people for no reason. It just won't. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? But I want you to stand strong and stay firm in everything that you are, so that you know that anything like that, any of these type of people that try to push against you, they're running into brick walls. You can literally envision a brick wall. That's why your imagination is super key, because you can literally put these people in a bubble, and everything they try to cast out is circle right back to them. Literally. Don't worry about it. Keep on working on remembering the wholeness of you. That's it. That's all. Everything else in that space that's not to that, it can be null and void and obsolete. And I speak that over you because a lot of us have lived in chaos for so long that people grab hold to that. You know what I mean? Energies grab hold to that because they already know how to push the buttons for that. The trick is to choose to be different. That's the trick. Choose to be different. When you choose to be different, you take all of that stuff and you turn it into fuel. All of it turns into fuel for your higher purpose. Literally. You know what I mean? So take that fuel. Take that fuel. Yeah, you already know. You already know. Alchemist by nature. You already know. Just to show you something, like, do you know how messed up it feels to a person that meant you harm to see you smile? You know, like, do you you know what I mean? Someone that's low key a hater, like, to see you smile. Like, smile. Like, that's all the more reason for you to smile anyway. You know what I mean? Take all of that energy. Smile about it. I feel good. This makes me feel good. That's okay. That's okay. My soul is satisfied. My soul is satisfied. What do I need? What do I need to do outside of what I want to do? What I want to do is I want to feel good. I want to feel whole. I want to feel myself. Yeah. Hey, welcome. It's just the question and answer part, so we're just chopping it up. But yeah. See, yeah, you on what I'm on. That's how I am. I be with I play my vibes, and I do my qigong. I do a little bit of Silat training, feeling good. You know what I mean? And by like 8:30 a.m., I'll be like worn out because I probably do too much sometimes, but it'd be a good time though. You feel good energy. It's feel good energy. You know? But yeah, if you have any questions, or anything, like just feel free to ask y'all for those of y'all that are coming in. This is just the question and answer portion. I can recap a little bit. So one of the major things I was talking about was well, we could say sacred silence, but more so silence as a tool, and how silence helps you unravel from all of the programming, all of the things that try to subtract you from you being you. I'm talking about all of the things like your thoughts, your what you allow into your life, your programming, what you take in vibrationally, your identity, like all of these things unravel. All of these things, when silence becomes a thing where it's no other voice but source. Absolutely, I can teach you how to meditate. That's no problem. It's yeah, that's cool. And it's no big deal. I don't really charge like that for that kind of stuff. So if you like want to donate or something like that, that's cool. And we just pick a day that's good for you, and we just go through like the science of it, the art of it. Just give me about an hour and a half of your time. That's all. Have you had trouble with silence? Has that been a thing for you? And I got back to the States not long ago, so if y'all are like in Texas or something like that, like we can click up and like do some stuff. It ain't no big deal. I'd rather be off the nets like that. I'm not really like, I spend more time in nature. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's rare you catch me like in these moments. Like my loved ones, like I'm always sending them pictures of like animals and stuff like that. Like this little squirrel that's been like following me around for like the last few days. Like I sent him a little snapshot of me feeding them, and yeah, I like being outside with the animals, man. That's just my thing. But yeah, if nothing else, I am going to be working on something here though, that I think will be beneficial. You know, it's gonna be a cool little thing, but I wanna like get some people together, and we don't like we just get into the space of like practicing some stuff together, and you know what I mean. And we talk about like some spiritual topics, like we work through some things if it's needed. If not, we just connecting between souls and source. You know what I mean? Nothing extra. It ain't even nothing special. You know what I mean? Outside of just us being us, mask free. Because please, I'm one of those people that's gonna be able to see. So please, if you want to hang out, like come without a mask on. It's okay. Be quirky, be nerdy, be all of those things. If that's what you are, be that. No performance. Please don't perform. Please. That's all I ask, because I think it's enough of that going on online. And when people meet me and they're like, "Oh, you're really like that." Like yeah. This is not a performance. I'm not like a personality making content. Like that's why you barely see me around. Like unless it's music related on my other page. Like no. No. I'm a regular person. I'm trying to like. And yes, I have these aspects. Yes, I am a Baba. Yes, I teach hoodoo. Yes, I teach high forms of magic. Yes, I do all of these things. But I'm me at the end of the day. I'm me at the end of the day. No, I don't make any videos. I should have made one when I was overseas. I should have made one. Was out in Mexico City and Cuba for a little bit, having a ball. Like, for those that don't know, like I'm initiating to Ayan, which is the Orisha for drumming. But it's a beautiful thing. I took so much joy in connecting. I made family in these places, and I wish I could get my sister, my sister from one of my sisters from Mexico to jump on with me. We were out in Mexico chilling, but she taught me a whole lot. And she would be considered like a big sister to me. And but she don't like social media like that. And she lives in the jungle, so she ain't really with all that. But yeah, that's funny, cause I didn't even know you popped in here. What's going on? And yeah, how you gonna say you the man? Y'all, me and my cousin don't mind us, but yeah, she is. She was I was with her learning a whole lot. Her and my adopted Mayan family out in Quintana Roo. Like we were for those that are familiar with like Mexico and the Yucatan, like if you ever heard of Piste, like out in that area, in between Piste and Valladolid. It's like so many small communities, so much love out there. Wound up like meeting some people that wound up coming here, which is amazing, and they're like really family, really family for real. Breaking bread with them. We did a few gatherings together since I've been back. But it's just and I encourage all of you to literally like take your things. Like all of this is cool, but take your things and get out in the world and make some connections, because it's some beautiful people out there. You know what I mean? Even in the States. Like I connected with some of my loved ones. And shout out to, if you get a chance to see this, Ia Dooney, if you get a chance to see this, shout out to you. They just did a fire Gullah Geechee Festival in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna do my best to make it next year. So my Gullah people, like if my Gullah Geechee people, if y'all out that way, or if y'all wanna get more information, like Geechee Conjure, here on IG. She's dope. She's always giving out gems too. And these are people that are out in the streets, like for the culture, for real, helping people, showing up in the spaces, creating spaces, like in real life, like not just online, but real life. Because remember, everything that's for you is not just online. It's about taking it out in the world and being about it for real. Even in the space of having an Orisha with you or being an Orisha yourself, that's how you become one. One of my favorites that I've been working with for well over a decade, Obaluaye, was literally a prince who had everything in the world at his fingertips. You couldn't tell him nothing. He was arrogant, and it got the best of him. He was, had all of these things, and so they took the one thing that he cared about the most, his looks, which is why you see his figures covered in grass and straw. It's literally because he became the Orisha for leprosy and for disease and for spreading it and for healing it. You know what I mean? Literally, he went through so many things after his transgressions. It's like he had no choice but to do better about being a better human. And him, like, passing is what allowed him to step into the space of being there for other people on the other side. You know what I mean? It's like now is the time for, especially some of us that have been here a little bit longer than other people, where we get into the space of learning how to be good elders. So when we move into these spaces, we move in here, we move with integrity. We move with understanding. We move with peace. We don't push other people that aren't really looking for it. We allow people to come in and go and be around us as they please, because we're not moving like we're constantly assigned to someone. Like just giving the gift, giving life, giving those things to other people. You know what I mean? And helping people understand the deepness of themselves, because that's what it's really about. Everything that you learn, especially aspects, how is it helping you to be a better you? That's what it's about. It's cool to have all of these titles and all of these aspects, but is it allowing you to be a better person? Because none of it matters if you're never leaving your room and you're just in your room chilling, drinking, smoking, talking shit. Like, none of it matters if that's all you're doing. You know what I mean? So how are you allowing these things to go out into the world to shape you so that you can shape the world around you? Because ultimately, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's why you are the masters of the universe. You're the masters of your universe, literally. Literally, how are you cultivating it? You know what I mean? And if you like me, you probably gonna always see an animal or something like that around me, because that's just me. So my next on my list. My family's probably gonna hate me for this, but I want me like a thing of like chickens. You know what I mean? Walk around with like chickens under my arms and stuff like that. Like that's been a thing for me, cause you know, I'm literally I had them around me. I had them around me last year. Especially like November, December, where I was living at the time in Mexico. That's literally going up, literally walking outside, and it's like a rodeo at the end of my street. And then there's like, and as I'm walking down, like first there was like dogs follow me, and then there were like chickens, and then by the time I got back home, it was like cats everywhere. and playing with, and so imagine you go from all of these animals, and then you're playing with like horses. You know what I mean? And it's funny, and it makes it even funnier having the vaqueros find out I was from Texas and I knew what I was doing, so it made it even funnier. So the conversations got real funny. In the last 3 days, I had the possum creeping around me, a lizard on my window. Oh, that's fire. That's fire. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Oh, Valley, I don't even think I told you, like, my place in Mexico, like the day I moved in, I had a scorpion. Like, it was literally like a scorpion, like, come out of nowhere. It was like chilling in my living room, like, and walks over to my Eshu shrine and just like kicks it and just chilling. It didn't want to leave. Like, I had to literally go and by hand and take it out because it didn't want to leave. But it's that's the best. That's the best. You know what I mean? So if you got those around you, take those as good omens. Yeah, all of them. I had this thing, y'all. It was like I don't want to say it was a marsupial. It looked, it almost looks like a chinchilla almost, but it wasn't. Yes, absolutely. You also teach that seated and silent is not the same as absolutely. Well, yes, absolutely. Because I personally, I teach my philosophy. Personally, I teach silence over meditation. Like, meditation is great. Meditation is a tool within itself, but silence helps you remember, like, yourself, like, outside of all of those other things. So I wouldn't even put you in a space when we're talking about meditation to talk about like silence the mind and all of that stuff. Like that's like the westernized concept of meditation, like silence the mind and like that's not, no. What's going on, bro? That's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy. Love you, bro. But yeah. How many of y'all are like, if I was to do like something on silence, and it's not really something I'm like interested in like charging for, so don't even put your mind on that, but like if I was to like have like a little something on just silence, like understanding silence, like we did today, but like a more in-depth approach to where we can practice some of the things like the exercises I had you do here, how many of y'all would like be, because it's a whole methodology like to the way that I teach that. You know what I mean? Would y'all be interested in like a Saturday or something for like an hour and a half or something, just to like pick up some of that? And if it's like, even if it's like 3 or 4 people, just let me know. It don't take a lot. We can do like a little Google Meet or something. On a Saturday or like a Sunday or something, and we can just talk. Because for those of you that have not sat down with me, I'm very interactive in what I teach. So it's not going to be a space where like you just talking, like you just hear me talk like for an hour and a half, 3 hours, 4 hours. No, it's a conversation the entire time. And sure, I'm showing you stuff, but it's a conversation because I like to teach. I like to teach in a way that makes everything not only easy to understand, but super applicable. You know what I mean? That's I just had a field day teaching and I'm sorry, y'all. I know I don't talk about what I offer and stuff as teachings. I probably should do better about that. But I did a class the last 3 weeks over the first 2 Harry Potter movies, and I just basically taught high magic and alchemy, the concepts of both from off just the first 2 Harry Potter movies. So it was like a little thing, and I had we spoke on observations, and it was one of those ones, because I don't know if y'all like me, sometimes we might talk through the movie, so I'd like pause the movie, and then we have like a talk on that section, and then we like go, and then press play again, but yeah, I'm one of those people, so that might be something I might do as well, because I really, really, really enjoy it. I'm going to do, I did the first 2, I'm going to do the 3rd one soon, and then I'm going to probably skip and do Fantastic Beasts. But yeah, we even went over some of the topics about certain names, and I was showing them how like some of those people, even though they were in the Harry Potter movies, like some of those names were of like real people, and they enjoy that kind of stuff. Talked about different orders and stuff that use certain things in the movie, and certain like I don't know if you remember. I'll just give you an example. I don't know if you remember the first one, like the first Harry Potter. If you remember it, Nicholas Flamel. Nicholas Flamel is like a real person. That's it. Like it wasn't like just some made up character for the movie in the library scene, but no, like Nicholas Flamel was real, and the name and the use of the Sorcerer's Stone, and why was the Sorcerer's Stone specifically given to Harry, and that's a lot of us don't realize that's the way that we're gifted power in our spark, earning it, knowing your intention on behind using it, and knowing that you're not going to use it at all. Because it's not about possessing something to use it against something else, but will it make you better? Literally what I was talking about. So it's a tie-in, full circle moment. But yeah, I might do some stuff like that. Because those of us that catch the radio show on Fridays, it's a little community over there that I love, and if it creates another space where I get to enjoy being around them or something else, then I'm down to do that too. And for those that don't know, I do radio on Fridays and Sundays. Fridays is like Venus Day activities, so it's all the jams, love feel music. Sometimes it's a little shake music, but we have a lot of fun. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Fridays is like the request day, and the ladies be killing it. The queens kill it every Friday with the request. So much so that I'm letting them do like the first show of the summer, like the summertime. Like I'm gonna let them run the summer pretty much on the radio show. Valley being there, Valley, you one of them ones. Like, yeah, like yeah, you, Mac, Bree, Pre, like, yeah. Y'all turn up on the request, like y'all. So like the whole second half of the show is all them. It's literally all them. Like it's all of their music. The second half of the show. So if you didn't know, now you know. When I open up the request and it's like the second half and like until closing the show, that's all them. So if you go and listen to the recordings of For the Lovers, which is the Friday show, the second half of the show in the last like 3 or 4 episodes is all them. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And on Sundays, I do a show where even the music is a collective message. I give a collective message, but the music is also a collective message. You know what I mean? And I'm looking to share that space with other people who also want to give a message as well. So it's not always me, and it doesn't have to be cosmic intel or something like that. It could be if you have something for the collective from tarot, an astrology message, pretty much if you have something that's going to help build the community, because we got enough people telling us about like what's going wrong and what's about to happen, and they ain't outside. I don't play that. I'm sorry, I don't play that. I love being outside, so I know what it's like. I talk to people all the time. Even I still get in contact. I still talk to all my people in Mexico still, and we literally chop it up for hours at a time. I was just on the phone with my Mayan brother the other day, and we literally was talking about how the programming going back and forth between here and there is different, and a lot of people that live there don't realize they're still under the same programming from here. But you have to step outside of what it's like to be here and to aspire to take here somewhere else, to actually see that the programming is very alive and well in a person. You know what I mean? Like for me, I was out there like having fun, putting feet to the dirt, like at the Mayan ruins, like playing around like a little kid, literally. Even when I was doing classes and doing divinations for other people, like it was still like outside, under trees, and I still got my connections, and I still do readings for Mi Tiendita. It's a store, a spiritual shop in Tulum that I still do readings for. So if you're down there, give Mr. Luis a shot. Show him love. He's a good person. You know what I mean? Him and his wife are really dope. Really, really dope. They looked out for me too. Taught me like the different energies of like different areas. The same with my sister, my big sister. She taught me like different things about different areas, different types of people, and she was one of the first people to show me the energies down there in a way that when I came back here, I realized just because somebody have a label of something that you would deem bad, that doesn't mean that that's what they are. And boom, like just not too long ago, Devil May Cry literally came out. And that's one of another reasons why you gotta like take what people say at like face value, because you don't really like, until you like in that space to where you can check the energy for yourself, you don't really know. You don't really know. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't know how to identify certain types, like let it go until you learn. Let it go until you learn. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I love about learning, especially when I did my Temazcal down there. I saw so many things with me having the ability to see, and I know a lot of different types of beings. I was able to see some that I've never seen before, literally, in the jungle, because they don't go to the cities. Literally. You know what I mean? So take your time with all of this. Take your time with all of this. It's a beautiful thing. It's even with today, and I talked to a couple of people, and it's learning. It's learning to see, hey sis, what's going on? I was just talking about you because I was talking about the ladies cutting up on Fridays and how y'all be showing out, and how the second half of the show literally be y'all. The second half of the show be y'all. I just press play, pretty much, literally. When y'all get to send in requests, the requests will be so fire. I just put in maybe 1 or 2 songs to tie it all in together. But other than that, it's y'all. It's literally y'all. So, and yeah, you already know y'all got the summer. So that's on y'all. That's part of what I wanted to talk to you about, by the way. But yeah, recognizing that it's okay to take your time and to build in your inner knowing, to build in your inner knowing, to build in your wisdom, to build into your, you know what I mean? No. She kind of looked like it in that picture. No, that's not Conjure Queen though. Shout out to Conjure Queen. I caught a lesson from her a few years ago when she was down here in Houston. Yeah, no, it's but it's going back into the spirit of sitting to find your knowing. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to. I don't know if you heard me in the earlier message, but if you weren't here, I'm talking about these specific things because they're all tied in back into you remembering who you are. Because a lot of these things that's being shown to you that make you feel like broken or like something's wrong with you, that's bullshit. It is. I'm sorry. It just is. There's nothing. You cool. Once you realize that, when you sit in silence long enough for all that programming and shit to unravel, you feel that type of breath like deep into your soul. Like you feel it. You feel it. You know what I mean? That sacred breath, the somatic energy, the pureness of it, like you feel it. You know, and then you get into a space to where you feel it when you're around others. You feel it. Even when you may be feeling things, like you feel that above all things. Above all things. You know. But if y'all don't have any more questions, you can always tap in with me on here. You can also find me on my other pages, which I'm not going to say in this video because I don't want everybody to know that's going to watch this video. But you can always message me if you want to know where to contact me on other things, but you can also get into this beautiful newsletter that I'm a part of, that I'm happy to say that I'm about to release this playlist on y'all tonight. Y'all not ready for it. I ain't gonna lie to you. If you've never like caught a playlist from me, catch this one. Trust. Shout out to Curated South. Mech, you already know. That's Boss Lady over there. She's the reason that we exist in that space. She's a hell of an author. She has the book Foolish. It's a series. And she does short stories for the people, about the people, all cultural. Oh, man. I've never met anybody that can write like that in my life. She inspired me to write. Like, y'all know, if y'all been following me for like the longest time, y'all know I'm like a sentence and like an emoji and then I'm gone. That's all you gonna get from me. But yeah, when y'all see me like go like in depth or go there with it in my writings, like it's because I've been around her and I know that if I don't, like, she gonna like look at my shit and be like, what's this? You know what I mean? But yeah, make sure y'all get over there on Mech and Curated South, Curated Vibes, the newsletter. Make sure y'all get over there into that. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on over there. You know, and it's of course my good sis as well, Luminary Beauty. She's a part of that. Jazz, you know, C. They're all fire. Jazz does tarot, Luminary and C does astrology, but in two very, very, very different ways. And I think that's amazing. Luminary Beauty does also, like, if you catch her page, she does like sound healing and stuff like that. C does fashion astrology, so if you're trying to like get into like stepping up your gear, you know what I mean? If you're looking to reinvent yourself like me, because I'm back here now, I'm used to being in like tropical clothing, so I'm really like be leaning on like people like her to get myself acclimated back to the energy of being up here, because you can't exist in Crocs all the time and step out like that. You know what I mean? There's certain places you can wear Crocs too that I like going. So, yeah. What else? Who else? Oh, yes. I'm featuring some very dope people on this playlist. If you're not really like well versed into these people, like Honeybee the Prophet, Apartment Penny, Il Camille, Bath, it's gonna be some really dope independent artists on there. Because that's one of the things that I got back to on this one. Deontay Hitchcock is featured on there, and bro's like super supportive. Anything that I like attach him to, like, he just show love to it, and I really appreciate that. Same thing with Honeybee the Prophet. She's the same way. Like, anything that I like literally attach her to, like, she shows it like major love. And yeah, like, I do that on Sundays, which I'm gonna get back to, because I like giving the shine to independent artists and the shine to people with dope messaging, because it's important, you know what I mean? Because they found a way to make sure we can still groove with a better message, and I like that, you know. But I thank y'all. I'm not taking that much more of y'all time. I thank y'all for listening. I thank y'all for asking questions. I thank y'all for participating. I love y'all. Until next time, peace.